Hello students, how are you all? I hope you all are fit and fine. So in the earlier class we talked about flora and fauna. We talked about how to preserve, how to conserve the flora and fauna, and we also talked about various type of national parks are there and biosphere reserves are there. Okay. So now in today class we're going to learn a fresh new chapter, that is chapter 8, cell unit of life. Before starting this chapter there are some inside the chapter points. So the points are: first one, discovery of cell. Next, shape of the cells. Next one, cell structure and function. Next, cytoplasm. Next, difference between animal and plant cell. Next one, eukaryotes and prokaryotes one. Next, number of cells. Next, size of the cells. Next, cell membrane, nucleus and plastids. Let's start the chapter. You have learned in previous classes that living things carry out certain basic functions. All living things are made up of cells. The cell is a basic structural unit of any living being. You can compare cells to the bricks of a wall, just as bricks join to make a wall. Cells are assembled to form an organism. So basically, what is cell? Cell is a basic structural unit. Cell is a basic structural unit, just like the bricks. Just like the bricks are important to make a wall, that's how the cell are also important to, when they are assembled, it form an organism. It form an organism. Okay, let's talk about it. Discovery of the cell. Robert Hooke was the first person who discovered cell in 1605. Robert Hooke was the first person who discovered cell in 1665. So Robert Hooke was the first person who discovered the cell in the year 1665. He observed a cut slice of cork under a microscope. He saw that cork is made up of tiny honeycomb-like compartments which are arranged one on top of the other. He called these compartments cells. Hooke had actually observed dead cells. It was much later, more than 150 years, with the development of improved microscope, that scientists discovered that all living things are made of cells. Here you can see the image of a microscope under which that scientist, that Robert Hooke, studied about the cell. And here you can see the cells of a cork which are observed by Robert Hooke. And here you can see the image of Robert Hooke. Okay, so basically, what is this cork? First of all, so cork is the trunk part of a tree. Okay, and it is a dead cell. It is a dead cell of a tree. So basically, this Robert Hooke, he observed this cell. This basically this Robert Hooke, it observed the cork under a microscope, and he observed it, and he saw that there are some tiny honeycomb like compartments which are arranged on top of the another. Okay, and that is known as the cell. That compartments are known as the cells. But later on he get to know that the cells which he saw over there, they were the dead cells. Okay, they were the dead cells of the cork of a tree. Okay, and later on, more than 150 years, there is development of the improved microscope, and by which the scientists discovered that we humans are also made up of cells. Okay, the cells. Cell is the smallest structural unit of a living organism. Though living organisms differ in their size, shape, color, and structure, but they show a similarity. They are all made of cells. It is a complex living structure. Let's talk about variation in size. Some cells are microscopic and cannot be seen with a naked eye. The cell size may vary from a millionth of a meter to a few centimeters. The largest cell is the egg of an ostrich, which is 17 centimeter in diameter. The hen egg is also a cell. There is no relationship between cell size and organism size. However, most of the cells are microscopic in nature and cannot be seen with the naked eye. They need to be seen under a microscope. The smallest cell is that of a bacteria, which is zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.5 micrometer, that is a millionth of a meter, and the size of the cell is related to its function. The nerve cells are the longest, more than a meter long. Okay. So basically, it is telling you about the variation in size of the cell. So some cells are microscopic, like you can be able to see them in the microscope only. You cannot be able to see them with your naked eye. Okay, and the cell size, they also vary from, from a millionth of a meter to a few centimeter. Okay, and the largest cell is the egg cell of an ostrich. Okay, largest cell is the egg of the ostrich, which is carrying the 17 centimeter diameter. Okay, and the hen egg is also a cell, that is also a cell. There is no relationship between the cell size and the organism size. Okay, there is no type of relationship. And however, most of the cells are microscopic in nature, like we are able to see them under the microscope only, and they need to be seen under a microscope. And the smallest cell is that of the bacteria one, which is zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.5 micrometer, the millionth of a meter. And the size of the cell is also related to its function, the function it performs. The nerve cell are the longest one, longest cell, more than a meter long. Okay, here you can see the picture of cell. Now before moving further, there is an activity 8.1, in which you have to study the egg, you have to study the cell, which is okay, in which you have to study the egg of a hen. Okay, where you can see the yolk of the egg, and also the white part, that is the albumin, and also the white part, that is the albumin. Now let's talk about variation in number. The organisms which constitute one single cell are called unicellular organisms. Examples of unicellular organisms are amoeba, paramecium, euglena, and bacteria. In a unicellular organism, the single cell performs all the necessary functions like feeding, digestion of food, respiration, excretion, movement, and reproduction. Organisms which constitute more than a single cell are called multicellular organisms. Most plants and animals are multicellular organisms. Human body has trillions of cells, like thousands or billions. Okay, the smaller number of cells in smaller organism do not affect the functioning of the organism. In fact, all organisms begin life with a single cell called the fertilized egg. This fertilized egg multiplies and the number of cells increase with development. So basically, there is variation in number of cells, like the organism which constitute of one single cell, they are known as the unicellular organism. Okay, they are because they are made out of that single cell. Examples of unicellular organisms are amoeba is there, paramecium is there, euglena is there, and bacteria is there. And in a unicellular organism, the single cell performs all the necessary functions. Okay, that single cell performs the feeding function, digestion of food function, respiration, excretion, movement, and reproduction function. Next one is the organism which constitute more than a single cell, that is known as the multicellular organism, like human being. And we can also say more like plants and animals are there, which are known as the multicellular organism. Okay, and human body contains trillions of cells, that is 1,000 billion. Okay, and the smaller number of cells in smaller organism do not affect the functioning of their functioning of the organism. Okay, and in fact all organisms begin their life with a single cell only, that is the fertilized egg. Okay, and then after that, that fertilized egg multiply into the number of cells. Now let's talk about variation in shape. Cells have various shapes in various organs and organisms. They can be rectangular, polygonal, oval, round, spherical, or elongated. Some cells are pointed at both ends. Some cells, like nerve cells, are branched. So basically it is telling you about that cells are available in various shapes, so in like various organs and organisms, and they can be rectangular, they can be polygonal, they can be oval, they can be round, spherical, etc. And some cells are pointed at both the ends, and some cells like the nerve cells are the branch cell. Okay. Amoeba is irregular in shape. It has no shape unlike other organisms. It can keep changing its shape due to formation of pseudophodia, which help in movement and capturing of food. White blood cells in blood of human beings uh, white blood cells in blood of human beings are simple cells which can change their shape. So like amoeba is given in here in this picture. So amoeba is irregular in shape, it does not have the particular shape, and like the other organism, and it can keep changing its shape, okay, due to the formation of the pseudophodia, that is the false feet, which help in the movement and capturing of the food. And whereas there is white blood cells in blood of human beings, which are the simple cells and which can change their shape. Okay. The cell membrane provides shape to the cell in plants and animals. The different shapes of the cell are related to their specific functions. The nerve cell is branched as it receives and transmits messages, thereby helping to control and coordinate the working of different parts of the body. So basically, the cell membrane, it provides the shape to the cell in plants and animals, and the different shape of the cell are related to their specific function. Okay. The nerve cell is branch as it receive and transmit the message. Okay. And thereby helping to control, it help to control and coordinate the working of different parts of the body. Here you can see spherical red blood cell, and also spindle shaped muscle cell, and the long branch nerve cells. Now before moving further, there is a question, let's revise. Give one word for each one of the following, and this one you have to do by your own. Now the next part is cell structure and function. You have already studied in the previous class that each organ in the digestive system perform different functions. Same is the case in plants also. Each organ is made up of smaller part called tissues. A tissue is a group of cells performing similar functions. Thus, we see that a cell is the basic structural unit irrespective of various in size and shape. Each cell has a definite structure. So it is saying that each cell has a definite structure, and as you already know that like similar to the human being, there is also plants which contain the cell, and each organ is made up of the smaller part that is called the tissues. So tissue is what? Tissue is a group of cells only which perform the similar functions. Okay. Now the next point is part of the cell. All cells have three main parts, like parts called cell membrane, cytoplasm, and nucleus. So the first one is cell membrane. It is the outer covering of the cell. The cytoplasm and the nucleus are enclosed within the cell membrane. It is semi-permeable in nature, that is, selected materials can enter or leave the cell. Cell membrane is also known as the plasma membrane. It separates the cell from one another and also the cells from the surrounding medium. It provides protection to the internal cell organelles besides providing shape and rigidity to the cells. Here you can see the image of cell membrane. So basically, cell membrane is the outer covering of the cell, and the cytoplasm, nucleus are inside of that cell membrane. They are enclosed within that cell membrane, and it is the semi-permeable. This cell membrane is a semi-permeable in nature. That is, the selected material can enter in it and go out or leave that cell. And cell membrane is also known as the plasma membrane. Okay, and this separates the cell from one another and also the cell from the surrounding medium, and it provides the protection to the internal cell organelles beside providing shape and rigidity to the cells. Now, before moving further, there is an activity, activity 8.2. So this activity you have to perform by your own. In the onions, cell membrane is covered by a thick covering called cell wall. This is present in all plant cells and bacteria. The cell wall is made of cellulose. This provides protection to the plants against variation in temperature, high wind speed, atmospheric moisture, etc. Plants need more protection compared to animal cells as they cannot move. So that's why the plant cell contain the cell wall, okay, and these are present in the plant cells and the bacteria, the cell wall and the cell membrane, we say that, which is covered by a thick covering, that is the cell wall, and this cell wall is made of cellulose, okay, and this provides the protection to the plants against the variation in temperature, high wind speed, atmospheric moisture, etc. And now, before moving further, there is an activity, activity 8.3. So, in this, you have to see under the microscope the human cheek cell. Okay. Now, the next point is cytoplasm. All life functions take place in jelly-like substance enclosed by the cell wall. A number of components called cell organelles are present in the cytoplasm. Mitochondria, Golgi bodies, ribosomes are some of them. So basically, like all life functions take place in the this jelly-like substance, which is enclosed by the cell wall, and that jelly-like substance is known as the cytoplasm. Okay, so number of components are there called the cell organelles, which are present inside this cytoplasm, and they are mitochondria, Golgi bodies, ribosomes. Okay, so the next one is nucleus. It is the most important component of the cell, being considered its brain. It is generally spherical and located in the center of the cell, and it is surrounded by a thin membrane called the nuclear membrane. The nuclear membrane, like the cell membrane, is also porous and allows the movement of materials between the cytoplasm and the inside of the nucleus. The fluid present inside the nuclear membrane is called the nucleoplasm. Present inside the nucleus is a small spherical body called nucleolus, which can be seen with a microscope of higher magnification. Besides, thread-like structures called chromosomes are also present in this nucleoplasm. They carry genes which help in inheritance or transfer of characters from parents to the offspring. So basically, the nucleus. This nucleus is the most important component of the cell, and it is also considered the brain of the cell, because it is the center part of the cell, and it is generally spherical and located in the center of the cell, and it is surrounded by a thin membrane, that is the nuclear membrane, which protect this nucleus. So the nuclear membrane, it acts like the cell membrane only, and it is also porous and allows the movement of material to get in and get out. Okay, and between the cytoplasm and inside of the nucleus. So the fluid which present inside that nuclear membrane is known as the nucleoplasm, and which is present inside the nucleus is a small spherical body. That small spherical body is called nucleolus. Okay, and which can be seen under the microscope only of higher magnification. And beside thread-like structure, there is also thread-like structure which is called the chromosomes, and which are also present inside that nucleoplasm. Okay, and they carry the genes which help in the inheritance or transfer of the characters from the parents to the offspring. Okay, here you can see the nucleoplasm image. Thus a nucleus consists of four main parts: nuclear membrane, nucleoplasm, nucleolus, and chromosome. Nucleus plays an important role in cell division, transmission of hereditary characters from generation to generation, controlling all the life functions taking place in the cells. The entire content of a living cell is known as protoplasm. It is also called the living substance of the cell and includes the cytoplasm and the nucleus. While looking at the onion cell, you must have seen a blank looking structure in the cytoplasm called vacuole. It is single and big in size. In cheek cells, you must have seen the smaller vacuoles. Small colored bodies seen in the cytoplasm of the leaf cells are called plastids. They are of they are of different colors depending on the pigment color. So, in this point, it is saying that the nucleus consists of four main parts, that is the nuclear membrane, nucleoplasm, nucleolus, and chromosome. Okay, and the nucleus play an important role. The roles are the cell division, the transmission of hereditary character from one generation to another, from parents to offspring, then controlling all the life function which are taking place inside that cell. Okay, then it is saying that the entire content of a living cell is known as the protoplasm, and it is also called the living substance of the cell. Okay, and includes the cytoplasm and the nucleus in it. Okay, while looking at the onion cell, you must have seen a blank looking structure in that cytoplasm, which is known as the vacuole. Okay, and this vacuole is single and also big in size. In cheek cell, whereas you can see in the cheek cell of the human, you must have seen that there are smaller vacuoles as compared to the plant one. Okay, and there are small colored bodies seen in the cytoplasm of the leaf cell, that is called the plastids, and these plastids are of different color depending on the pigment color. Okay, here you can see the image of chromosome and protoplasm, and in the below one you can see the image of vacuole. So the different pigment color, they are chloroplast, green in color as they contain chlorophyll. So chloroplast, basically the leaf which are green in color, so they contain this chloroplast. So chloroplasts are green in color as they contain the chlorophyll. Next one, chromoplast. Chromoplast are colored plastids, red yellow, they can be of red or yellow or green. They give color to fruits and flowers. Okay, they give color to fruits and flowers. Next one, leucoplasts. Leucoplasts are colorless, they help in the storage of food. Okay, now the next thing is comparison of plants and animal cell. Comparison of plant and animal cell. Although plant and animal cells have the same basic structure, there are certain differences between them. Here you can see the image of plant cell and animal cell. So the difference is, first point, in the plant cell, cell wall is present. In the animal cell, cell wall is absent. In the plant cell, cell wall is present, whereas in the animal cell, cell wall is absent. Next one. In the plant cell, cell membrane is present, and in the animal cell, cell membrane is also present. Next one, central vacuole is present in the plant cell. In the animal cell, large number of vacuoles which are smaller in size are present. Next one, plastids are usually present in the plant cell, whereas in the animal cell, plastids are absent. Next one, lysosomes are absent in the plant cell, whereas lysosomes are present in the animal cell. Next one, centrosomes are absent in the plant cell, whereas centrosomes are present in the animal cell. Okay, here you can see the figure of plant cell and animal cell. So the cell membranes are shown over there, vacuole is there, and nucleus is also there, cytoplasm is there. Okay, and you can see the cell wall, which you can see only in the plant cell, not in the animal cell. Okay, now let's talk about prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. Prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. Cells which do not contain a well-organized nuclear region are called prokaryotic cells. Organisms that have such cells are called prokaryotes. Pro means primitive, karyon nuclear, primitive nuclear. Okay. Examples are bacteria, blue-green algae, and viruses. Next one, cells which have a well-organized nuclear region with a distinct nuclear membrane are called eukaryotic cells. Organisms that have these cells are called eukaryotes. Eu means true, karyot means nucleus, true nucleus. So all organisms other than bacteria like blue-green algae and viruses are called eukaryotes. Here you can see the prokaryotic cells. So basically the cell which do not contain a well organized nuclear region, they are known as the prokaryotic cells, and the organisms are known as the prokaryotes. Okay, examples are bacteria and blue green algae and viruses. Whereas there are other organisms also in which the cells which contain a well organized nuclear region, okay, with a distinct nuclear membrane, that is known as the eukaryotic cell, and that organism is known as the eukaryotes. Okay, now there is scientific term, and this scientific terms you have to read by your own. Now as we have completed this chapter, let's recall some points. So the first point is the smallest living part of an organism is the cell. Next one, cell were first discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665 in Cork. Next, in multicellular organisms, cells are vary in size and shape. Next one, some cells like hen's egg can be seen with the naked eye, while some cannot be seen only by under the microscope. Some organisms like amoeba are single cell, whereas others contain a large number of cells. Next one, the single cell of an unicellular organism is capable of performing all the basic functions that are performed by a variety of cells in multicellular organism. Next one, the main parts of a cell are cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus. The plant cell in addition contains a cell wall. Next one, cytoplasm is present inside the cell membrane. It contains only small bodies called organelles. Next one, the nucleus is separated from the cytoplasm by a nuclear membrane. Next one, the nucleus contains the genetic material. Next, prokaryotic cells do not have a well organized nucleus, that is lacking nuclear membrane. Eukaryotic cells have a well organized nucleus. Next one, plant cells differ from animal cells in that they contain colored bodies called plastids. Green plastids containing chlorophyll are called chloroplast. Next one, plant cells have a big central vacuole, whereas animal cells have a number of small vacuoles. Now let's do some exercises. So the first one is one among all multiple choice questions. Tick the correct option. So the first one, the egg of a hen is a or an dash. Is it cell? Is it tissue? Is it organ? Or is it organ system? So the answer is cell. So tick that one. Next one, the genetic information of an organism is present in dash. Is it nuclear membrane? Is it chromosome? Is it plastid? Or is it cytoplasm? The answer is chromosome. Tick that one. Next one, the living content of the cell is called dash. Is it protoplasm? Is it cytoplasm? Is it cell membrane? Or is it nucleus? Okay, so the next question is the living content of the cell is called dash. Is it protoplasm? Is it cytoplasm? Or is it cell membrane? Or is it nucleus? So the answer is cytoplasm. So take that one. Next question, chloroplast contain dash. Is it starch? Is it chlorophyll? Is it blue pigment? Or is it genetic information? So the answer is chlorophyll. Take that one. Next one, cells of this does not have a cell wall. Is it algae? Is it plant? Is it bacteria? Or is it man? So the answer is man. Take that one. I hope, student, that you understood this chapter, and your homework is you have to do true and false and matching. Till then, students, take care. Bye-bye.